13 over the Tennessee Titans in Mike Vrabel's return to Nashville. The Patriots, a little rocky early, but gained control of the game and never looked back. Another banner day for Drake May, and a lot of different aspects to this win for the New England Patriots. Again, they're 5th this season. They're now 5-2. Joe Murray, what was your big takeaway after watching another Patriots win?
I think the Patriots went heavy to start the game when it came to the running game. They ended up having 175 yards on the ground for the day, but it somewhat kept Tennessee in the game. So I get it. You're against an inferior opponent. You want to try to get your running game going, which is like 31st in the league. But once they handed things back over to Drake May was almost flawless today. He only had 2 incompletions on the day. That's how good he was. He went 21 of 23 for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns. The deep ball still is just an amazing thing. He's so accurate when it comes to the deep ball. But I think in general, they went in with a game plan. When they went down in the game, they gave the ball to Drake May. Drake May made big play after big play. They had the good end of the first half where they scored a touchdown, right? Then they came back, scored another touchdown after Drake May left the game. Mm-hmm. Well, went to the tent, was gone. Josh Dobbs kept the drive alive. They got a first down. They went for it on 4th down, completed it on an excellent play by Pop Douglas, and then they scored the touchdown. So overall, they got their running game going. Drake May still got the deep ball rolling. And in the end, their defense did enough, and they scored a defensive touchdown as well.
And that's all they have to do, Joe. That defense this is all they have to do. Now, if we're talking about bigger picture things, Super Bowl, the real stuff, the defense will have to probably start a little faster. They're going to have to make a few more plays, give up less chunk plays overall. But that's not the time to talk about this. And I'm going to just say one other thing, just another quick note. Guess who is not the Patriots' leading rusher today? Drake May. So that's a nice thing to see. He had, 60-something yards rushing, but it was Ramondre Stevenson leading the Patriots with 88 yards rushing. Drake May had 62 yards rushing on 8 attempts. So a nice, balance if May's going to run the ball. I didn't like seeing him get hit a few times, the way he got hit, obviously. But I like him running the ball. I like him using that athleticism and being the type of quarter, that dual threat that they need back there. But it's nice to see Ramondre Stevenson actually lead the team in rushing. The Patriots as a team, 175 yards. Terrell Jennings got in there, 5 attempts, 18 yards. One thing that I was disappointed in today, just really nothing again from Travion Henderson, and it continues to sort of go that way, and that's disappointing because I just had such high hopes for him. It's not over, obviously. He can still contribute. He still has talent, but I just thought he'd be a little bit more dynamic, making a little bit more of an impact, and for that matter, Kyle Williams too. Not much out of the rookies. That combination, or whatever you want to call it, is not there, has not been there between Drake May and Kyle Williams. They're young, but if we're talking about the draft class and what they're going to ultimately need as they go forward, that's what they're going to have to have. They're going to have people out of the draft class coming in. So let's go to Mike Vrabel's press conference, brought to you by Oakers Technology. Here's the head coach.
Emotional game, emotional stretch for us. I mean, something that this team and organization hasn't done, and it's done a lot. And again, that doesn't do anything. But again, the grind of coming back and getting prepared and staying in the game. We've played really well in the second half. That's what I'm really proud of. And sometimes you don't always know how these games are going to go. And we certainly have to start faster, but really proud of the way that we've played. Giving up 3 points in the last 2 halves of football. Offensively, really, if we don't beat ourselves, it's been a good product, and was that same way today. I love the fact that we're finishing with the football. Special teams, unfortunately, with a penalty, but we had some good kick coverage, some inconsistent kick coverage. So again, there were some good ones and there's some bad ones, and that's kind of where it's been. But in the end, I felt like we did enough. So excited for these guys.
What did it mean to you to come back? You and the team, though. You know what I mean? Not just yourself, but the whole emotion of the day.
Well, first of all, congratulations, man. 25 years. We appreciate what you've done. And I went back and I looked at it. You had a highlight video, and I was in it, and I looked a lot younger, and I didn't have sleeves, and probably shouldn't have had some sleeves on back then. But congratulations, and thanks for covering us in this town for as long as you have. We moved on. Again, there's a lot of guys over there and a lot of people on that support staff that helped us through some decent things, but you kind of move on, and this is a whole different challenge, and I'm excited of where I'm at, and I appreciate the support of our fans to come down here and be excited and be into the football game, and we got to continue to give them things to cheer about and to travel and to come back and play really well at home. So that's what I'm proud of. I'm happy for these players, to have a little bit of momentum and to continue to build it throughout the week.
A chant of your name late in the game, you think that's your people here?
Well, I didn't get that many tickets. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, I'm happy for our players. I think these guys, they're figuring out how to win. They're figuring out how to practice. I guess it's humbling to have these people want to, whoever that is, cheer for us, whether that's the Patriots or Drake May or me or anybody else.
Mike, your thoughts on the work of Ramondre Stevenson?
Well, again, it's not just the running back. And again, we say the running back doesn't do a good job and we got to run it better, but we got to block better. And I felt like there were some running lanes, and when there weren't, we were able to stick it downhill and be able to push some piles. We had some double-digit runs. We had some dirty runs. It was great to see us finish there at the end. So I think it's always a combination. And we took care of the football, and that's really the formula. And they made a mistake there that we were able to capitalize on.
Well, you just mentioned the turnovers again this week. What's working so well and what's good?
Practice, awareness, just everybody else helping. But, it's getting good to see us doing the technique and the details that are important for those types of things, and, not putting the ball in harm's way, and guys going and making plays, and quarterback throws it in tight windows.
What stands out about Drake's game most for you?
I think there's an athleticism to him that's really, really cool. I think he's really accurate from all different spots, whether it's in the pocket, off platform. I mean, he's really done a nice job so far and spreading the football around. But there's an accuracy to him that's been really good for us.
How do you describe his growth from your perspective? What would you say about the way he's grown?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of demand there from Josh and myself, and I think he's responded to that as far as the leadership that he's had to show this offense, and kept talking about he wants to earn it. Well, I mean, I've told him that he's earned it, and I think he doesn't like something in practice, then he gets it fixed. And if he wants a better Friday practice, then he talks about it before we go out there on Friday. And I think those guys respond to him and the things that he says and the way that he operates.
Well, the second week in a row when he leaves the field there, you talk to him about sliding more.
No, I just wait for the doctor to tell me how he's doing, get the next guy in there, which is Dobbsy, and get a play in there, and then when the trainers tell me that he's okay, then we put him back in there, and we'll talk to him about protecting himself and being smart. But I think he's tried to do that for the most part.
So the second week in a row, you guys got that double score, around halftime there. Just how critical is that?
Very. We just, ending with the football in our hands, and just defensively, it was good that we didn't give up anything cheap there with 45 seconds. Great job of taking a shot and having it be there, and Drake putting a great ball. Kayshawn, making a hell of a catch there to secure it, and, getting both feet in. So anytime you can do that and double them up, a lot of positives involved. So hopefully that continues to be a trend.
Like to see the plays where you have the 7.5-minute drive and then come right out. Caleb Bond comes up with that basically strip sack touchdown. How pleasing is that, the complimentary football right there?
Well, and then again, whether that's the way that we covered the kickoff, right? Ellis going down there and covering it at the 20, a lot of momentum there. Guys running off the field or onto the field, excited, leads to a play. I thought a really cool play was the second down. Spillane makes a tackle, forces it to 3rd and 1. Zach dialed up a great call. Duggar covers the guy to the flat. Craig covers the guy, on the hide, and Milk gets a sack and forces him to punt. So that's the idea of some team defense and complementary football.
Mike, I know you said you've moved on, but your players said it was imperative that you leave here with a W. You've got guys talking about how they have a passion for blocking, that they just love the team camaraderie that you've built. As a head coach here, when did you know that the guys had bought in, that they were buying what you were selling? At what point in the season?
Probably after a Vegas game and us going on the road to Miami and having a difficult environment to play and the heat and the back and forth. And, I felt like that told us a lot about who we were. We just, we kind of dipped our toe in the water the first game. And I was really proud of what they did in practice and going down there. And I think that really showed them it's always been a tough place for, us to play. So I think that was really important for us, and that created a lot of positive momentum. We didn't get discouraged when we, had a bunch of turnovers, but had a chance against Pittsburgh, and then we played some pretty decent football, and we played good enough to win.
Mike, obviously,
Last question.
you've seen Cam Ward on tape prior to this, but what were your in-person impressions of him?
Early on it was pretty good. I think decisiveness, accuracy, and they did a nice job early on. Glad our guys settled down. Thanks, bud.
All right, that was Mike Vrabel's press conference. Mike Vrabel's press conference is powered by Oakers Technologies. Our coach knows a winning playbook is the key to success. And when it comes to your company's technology, the Oakers playbook has been unstoppable for over 100 years. So get future ready with Oakers, proud partner of your New England Patriots. When we get back, we're going to take a quick headlines with Joe Murray. We're going to get the headlines. Then we're going to react to the game, to Mike Vrabel's press conference. But first, before we do that, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
On the door inside of the 6-minute mark here on the second quarter. Hooper splits left. Henry's in the middle right between Diggs on the inside and Booty on the outside. That's the wide side of the field. Diggs now motions left across the formation. Shotgun snap to May. He's looking left. Throws it back corner for Hooper. Reaches up and makes the catch. What a throw and an outstanding play by Austin Hooper. Touchdown, Patriots.
The catch is all Hooper. The release is all made because the ball's thrown before Hooper is still running vertical before he goes to the back left pylon. And then he elevates to grab it with two hands up high, but May puts it on the only spot where Hooper can get it. Great throw, great catch.
All right, the drive of the game is brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. We'll help you manage life's storms. That drive, 11 plays, 93 yards in 6 minutes and 42 seconds, capped with that beautiful catch from Austin Hooper on the throw from Drake May. It was a good throw, great decision, better catch, sort of a mossed situation. He mossed him. They tied the game for the Patriots, and then really from then on, they were off and rolling. Drake May, Joe, off and rolling.
Yeah, I would say Drake May, again, broke a record today for completion percentage, so I don't know if that's something we should discuss more, is the fact that when he throws the football, right, and I this is like going to sound like John Madden, but if you just throw the football, you'll score points. right. I mean, and they're good at it. He's good at it. So I understand they got off to the slow start. The defense didn't look good early on. But when you hand the keys to Drake May, he's been the difference. They beat up on a bad team today. And I will just say that without Drake May and his performance, these games would be harder. But I like that they're beating bad teams convincingly. And as Mike Vrabel said, they like having the ball at the end of the game to take the kneel down and control things.
617-779-0985 is the phone number if you want to jump in here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. It's just, look, it's never a bad idea to highlight what Drake May is doing right now, because we're sort of in uncharted territory in terms of, first of all, the ascent, how fast he's become, what he's become, and how he's kind of put together this stretch here of games. And again, Joe, I have to say it every week while we're in the infancy stage of Drake May's superstardom. What he's doing isn't just about the numbers and the statistics and all of that. Watch the games. Okay, and we're watching. We're all watching.
You watch
the way. No. But I'm not telling you to watch the game. I'm just saying, you just got to see how he's playing. The throws, the visuals. That throw to Mac Hollins down the side. I mean, that is the biggest of big boy throws. That is the elite of the elite. The touch, the quick release. Forget about the deep. That wasn't even a deep ball. That was an intermediate, middle, whatever you want to call it. But just the accuracy on some of the throws, the timing. That is what is bringing this guy to this obscene level so quickly. And obviously the deep balls. Again, a great throw to Kayshon Boutte. It's also fluid. It's also smooth. The game has slowed down. And I just think that based on that, and you said it, the running game got going a little bit. And then when they needed to, and Drake May was called upon, all right, put it back on my shoulders and let's go. And they never look back.
I think, people are going to react to this game, and really the story is Mike Vrabel returned and all that. But getting back to those passes you mentioned, the Austin Hooper one in the back of the end zone. Now, it was a beautiful throw because nobody could have intercepted it. Like, that's why. And Hooper did go over the defender to get it. It was a great play. But that was a beautiful throw. You mentioned the one down the sideline to Hollins. Hollins also had another, post to the middle where he found him right in the middle. Great throw. Stephon Diggs had the 24-yarder as well. In this one, just looking at it, Diggs 24, Boutte 39 long, Hollins 27 long. And he also hit Hunter Henry on another one. So the Drake May's passing ability downfield, I have never seen a Patriot throw like that.
Okay, we'll get into that a little bit more later. Let's get a quick call in. Jeff is in New Hampshire. Hey, Jeff.
Joe Murray, never mind the pretty boys. Let's talk about Bradbury, Campbell Soup, and the boys up front. The unsung heroes, my friend. Never mind the restaurants on the South Shore. Never mind Felger. Let's get talking about the pigs.
Yeah, I thought Jared Wilson gave up 3 sacks today.
Yeah. He got beat bad early in the game on the sack, giving up, it ended one of the drives there. It was a pretty bad
one. Was Simmons, one was Sweat, almost crushed Drake May. Will Campbell had a false start. I thought Nwenu and Moses were fine.
Moses, I thought, played pretty well. Look, it wasn't the offensive line's best day, but this is going to happen, and it almost cancels out because they were able to run the ball a little bit. So, okay, they weren't maybe quite as good in pass protection today, but the fact that they were able to run the ball a little bit and get the 175 yards on the ground, Ramondre Stevenson was able to sort of, and the fact that Simmons went out obviously helps that cause. But I thought that they were able to finally establish a little bit of a presence in the run game. And if that, they weren't quite as good protecting Drake May in the pass protection, they needed to get the running game going a little bit. So it's sort of a net push.
Has the line... They weren't great today. Do you think?
I don't think so.
And again, Drake May still overcomes being one-dimensional as far as the running game. And today was still great, even though the offensive line wasn't. It's amazing what he can make up.
It's amazing what a good quarterback can make up.
Yes.
So that's why all this hand-wringing, I keep hearing the conversations about Josh McDaniels, and we talk about Belichick. I mean, you're still talking about Belichick and Brady. Look, we know this. If you have an elite quarterback, the things you can overcome are endless. Endless.
Yeah.
We don't even know and this isn't, I'm not trying to bash Bill Belichick. We honestly, legitimately don't even know what Bill Belichick would have been like without Tom Brady. He was able to overcome and mask so many different things, both with Belichick and not with involving Belichick. But that's what a great quarterback does. And Drake May is doing that right now.
Yeah. I do think the Titans stink. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of motivation to play. They had a lead. The Patriots just responded from the lead and buried them after it.
I mean, look, Joe, if you're looking for this big test that they're going to have, I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe
Atlanta. Maybe,
the Bucs
maybe next week.
It'll be yeah. But if it turns out to not be a great test, we're going to quickly it's the Browns. Quickly. It's not going to, I mean.
Yeah, the Browns offensively have issues, even though they put up 31 today, but it's their
defense. They had a couple defensive
defense.
touchdowns today.
It's their defense.
Yeah. So you're not going to be able to say, I mean, obviously that game in Tampa later in the season will be a test. There's just not, they had the big test. They passed their early big test. Now, it's not going to be perfect every game, but I'm just saying they've done basically everything that you would have wanted them to do to this point, other than those two losses where you had ridiculous turnovers and you came out, you started slow, and you got outplayed by Geno Smith, which every week continues to look worse and worse. But I'm just saying what the quarterback is able to do is just no small feat. And I'm going to say one other thing. There's another aspect to what Drake May did today that's going to be huge for this team going forward, and we haven't even talked about that yet. Okay, we're going to get to that. 617-779-0985. More to come on the postgame show. It's the Shaws and Star Market Patriots postgame show on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports Patriots Radio Network.
This is Michael Winyu. Credit Union's Kids at Heart is once again funding research on treatments for numerous pediatric brain diseases.
snap, chest high. He drops back with time. He loads up. He throws a long ball. Open man Booty. And he reaches out. He snaps it. He tumbles into the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots!
What a throw! What a throw! More importantly, it's the catch. Keyshawn Booty is developing into one heck of a weapon for Drake May. It's fingertips extended, deep post left, and they take the shot. Easy kick out of bounds. You're at the 40. You get it to the 50 on a run, bang it to Hunter Henry, and then Josh McDaniels, take your shot.
All right, welcome back to the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray with 21 completions by the Patriots today. Catches Law donates another $2,100, which brings the catches for college season total to $15,200. The Catches Care Scholarship ensures financial hurdles will not prevent students from pursuing their dreams. Drake May getting it done once again in many forms, and he spoke just a moment ago. Let's go to the Drake May press conference brought to you by your Chevrolet dealers.
What's going on? Y'all doing all right?
Locker room's open. Let's talk about healthy. How are you feeling? And what was that taste for that?
Yeah, I feel all right. Just got to get down. Just landed awkward and felt all right. But, no, I felt good. So.
It took you a while, but how important was it to get going? Keyshawn made that great catch.
Yeah. Yeah, able to run the football. No, I wouldn't say it was a struggle. I think, being able to run the football helped us out, today. I'm proud of the guys up front. It was emphasis all week to be able to run the football, and the guys outside made plays when the ball's in the air.
When you started that 2-minute drill, what was in your head and your plan? It was such a quick strike. Was that planned, or did you just see that play to Keyshawn? Talk us through that.
Yeah, kind of the same thing as last week in New Orleans, really, in the 2-minute. Just try to go get points, and if something's there, take a shot deep. And we're glad we came out with 7, and we were able to double dip coming out of halftime.
Take us through what you saw on the touchdown to Hooper.
Yeah, Hoop. We had basically a high-low out there, and they both went to Diggs, and they was late getting out, back to Hoop, and Hoop made a nice play. I threw it a little bit, but he's made a lot of those catches in his career, and he made a big-time catch.
Good.
Did you hear the Vrabel chants at the end?
I did. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's always cool. I think that's, he downplayed it all week, which we appreciate. I think he was focused on us and worried about us, and that's what matters. But I know that it feels good for him.
You guys have different teams since week 1, obviously. Coach talked about dipping your toe in the water week 1. You guys weren't that great and really started to build. You're having multiple plays down the field, especially the passing game, the one Booty you talked about. What's gotten you to this point to where it seems like everybody's alive, you're taking shots, whether it's Booty, whether it's Diggs, whether it's Pop last week?
Yeah, just keep playing the offense. Just I think we're learning each other, learning the offense together, and I think more and more comfortable every week. And I think that's the big thing with Coach. He's calling great games, and I think we got even more left in the tank, and I think that's what we'll look back on in that fourth quarter there to try to really seal the game.
That's those 5 guys up front.
Those 5 guys up front are balling, man. Those guys are warriors. Those are you're the heartbeat of this team, and they come show up every week.
Drake, you're obviously playing at a really high level right now, but the consistency at which you've been able to do it, what do you think has helped you the most to be able to kind of produce that consistency?
Yeah, I think the guys around me. I think they're we're instilling confidence in each other and confidence in myself, and just keeping them going out there and getting some wins under your belt helps with that. So just keep on going and just not changing throughout the week and just trying to get better.
Drake, you're the first quarterback in this franchise history to have 3 games in a single season completing at least 80% of your balls. What has allowed you to have that type of success so early in your career?
Yeah, same thing. Those guys are making plays for me. Those guys are, up front are blocking their butts off, and in the passing game they're going to, make plays for me. And I think we're just trying to stay ahead of the chains and trying to throw the first guy open.
I think you answered this during the week a little bit, but maybe now that the game is over. How much have you grown since being in this stadium last year when you had the exciting play and then lost in overtime? But you see how you pulled out the win today. How much do you feel like you've grown as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think we've just grown as an organization. I think with Coach Vrabel and his staff, I think we're just trying to buy into each other and build an identity. And I think that's what's kind of the biggest thing for me. I'm trying to be the same player every week, and I think those guys from this game last year, left a bad taste in our mouth. So we're glad we came out here with a win.
You downplayed it, obviously, all week long. Everyone did about Coach Vrabel coming back here. What has he meant to you guys, though? Not just but on a daily basis, in helping you guys get to 5-2 where you want to be right now?
Yeah, he's man, he brings it every day. You know, I think he brings it every day. He challenges us, but he also cares about us and cares about us outside the building. And I think, he's just awesome to play for, and it's pretty cool in that locker room celebrating.
You said, I don't know if you're aware of this, you set the Patriots record for all-time completion percentage in the game. Just 2 incompletions in the game, 21-23. What is your reaction to that?
Yeah, I left some out there that I ended up running that I could have thrown. I think I tucked it a couple of times when I shouldn't have, and I think I need to get the backside of the progression more. But I think I'm trying to be careful with the football and trying to challenge it down the field and not just be a check down Charlie. So just trying to throw it to the guys that's open, and they're making great plays.
What's your level of confidence in this offense right now?
Yeah, I think we got some more. We got some more left, and I think that's what Coach McDaniels is challenging us. I think those offensive coaches are doing a great job in their areas, and I think we still got more left, and I think that defensive touchdown really helped us out.
A little bit off topic, but Friday night was a great high school game in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I saw you were able to attend it. Just sort of what made you want to do that, and what was your reaction to?
Yeah, I heard it was a big game. In a local area. I think 2 state champions playing, and just trying to support. Brings me back to those days when I was playing. It's pretty cool to see them out there, and I guess there's a bunch of Patriots fans, so it was a pretty good crowd. So it's a good game. Thank you guys.
Damn right, that was a good game. Zavarian gets the win over Catholic Memorial, I'm just saying. Back here on the Shaws and Star Market Patriots post-game show. Drake May's press conference is brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers and the Chevy Silverado, where dependability comes standard. Drake May in this game, as they talked about in the press conference, just 2 incompletions, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, ran the ball. And I'm going to tell you another thing, Joe, that he did in this game that I think is going to be invaluable going forward for the New England Patriots. Toughness. Now, I hope he wasn't concussed. I thought he might have been concussed when I saw the hit. I have no idea what happened. They obviously evaluated him. But the whole culture of injuries that we used to hear Bill Parcells talk about, I love Drake May's attitude. And obviously, I don't want him to be injured and, I want him to care for his health and all that. But I love the fact that he decides that he's not going to be injured. I just love that, because guess what that means for everybody else? Hopefully, they're deciding too, as the season goes on, they're not going to be injured. Drake doesn't get injured, and neither am I. And I love that. That creates a culture of toughness. It creates an attitude that no, you're not going to be injured. And I just feel like that for some football teams has been a problem and could be a problem.
Yeah, it was mentioned twice. We obviously just heard it here with Drake May just said he kind of got rolled up the wrong way, is the way he put it. Spotters came out. But when they asked Mike Vrabel in his press conference, were you concerned about him running after returning into the game, his answer was no. So they want Drake May to play like Drake May. And I think that now everyone's trusting Mike Vrabel, right? You think they're starting to trust Drake May out there now?
I think so.
And like that now when you win games, everybody's chipping in, right? Stephon Diggs looks like a leader out there. The offensive linemen are, getting all the support now. Their defense rises to the occasion in the second. Marcus Jones got beat early, but ends up getting the game-winning interception. It's just there's a lot of trust in the organization now, which you could not say that 7 games ago.
Tim is in Miami. Hey, Tim.
Hey, what's up, guys? This was a really fun game, and it sort of reminded me of just the old school, Brady-era games where it was a little bit closer than you'd like early. But I thought the important point was finally they got the double score around halftime. I think that is such a weapon that we haven't had since Brady left. Whether you get it with 4 minutes or you get it with 1 minute, you can punch it in and then put the game out of reach in the third. And the Titans turned into a puddle after that. I mean, that Cam Ward fumble, that was not NFL football. Quick thing, Carlton Davis, I thought he was supposed to be good when we signed him. I think he's terrible. It's like someone tied his shoelaces together out there. And then I know May's tough, but I would love it if he could just slide feet first. I mean, apart from the play where he got the concussion, he did dive in there a couple more times, and he's too valuable. Just slide feet first, my man.
Alleged concussion.
This is the life you're going to live with Drake May. I think he does a good job of sliding feet first. I think he prioritizes. But if you're going to run, if you're going to be a runner every now and then, you're going to be in a position where he didn't get hit hard. You know what I mean? He didn't take a big hit, but because of the way he fell, his head ended up hitting the turf. Okay, so you want to be... See, that's something that people don't tell you. I don't want him to take a hard hit. We didn't really take a hard hit, but because of how he fell and the guy is on him and you lose your balance, his head hits the turf. So it's not always just about avoiding hard hits.
Yep.
He didn't take a hard hit.
He didn't. He should have slid. He didn't. He got rolled up, I thought, a little bit, too, on that play. But getting back to the Carlton Davis, listen, Christian Gonzalez on the other side of the field. And when you're the guy that is opposite of him, you're going to get tested a bunch. There was a bad holding call. I think he was on the wrong end of. Has he been beat? Is he hurt really every game? Yeah, but you know what? I want that guy on the team. Who's going to replace him, Mark? Like, what are you going to do? Like,
and look, they're going to be patient with him like they've been with everybody that's been screwing up.
He's been a veteran. The one thing I will say is he always has missed time. To your point, I think the theme of the team is you have to be out there to help the team. Davis, every week, he's come out of the game, but he comes back in. So maybe I know he hasn't been great, but you know what? I think overall, he's a solid number 2 cornerback. I just don't think they have a better option.
No, and I think he'll be okay. He's got a pedigree in the league, and he's going to be a guy that they're going to need, and they're going to have to get him to rise his level of play more, because everybody that's analyzing his deficiencies are right now. He's not playing very well. And it always seems to be Davis lagging a step behind or falling down or something in a big
he fell
spot.
down.
So that
he fell down on a first down.
All right, we're going to get a headlines with Joe Murray. More to come on the Shaws and Star Market Patriots postgame show.
Stevenson to his left. Drake takes the snap, hands it off. Ramondre running it right, running into the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots!
That's a good drive right there. That is a really, really good drive. May gets it going, gets nicked. Dobbs gets in, keeps it alive, gets the throw to the right side. They continue the drive. Another catch by Ramondre. Then you get one by Diggs inside. Then you get Ramondre there with the run. It's an easy run off the right side. Now you get a chance to put this thing away.
All right, back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray, Unclogging the Gaps, brought to you by Eastern Mass's leader in drain cleaning and pipelining, Drains by James. Slow drain? Clog drain? You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. They give a poop about your pipes. And that was the Ramondre Stevenson touchdown, capped off his day of 88 yards rushing. And finally, somebody not named Drake May is the leading rusher for the New England Patriots. A good day on the ground for the Patriots and a good day overall. Let's go back to the call. 617-779-0985. Skip is in the car. Hey, Skip.
Hey, Mark, great to have you back on the radio here. Just want to say I love the Pats today. Love how they're taking care of business against bad teams. Let's keep beating them up, right? You know, we beat up on the schedule in front of us. This is a playoff team, and who in the AFC scares you? I think you get KC rounds into shape, and you got Buffalo, but no reason this team can't go deep into the winter.
There's always the KC dynamic. It's like the old Brady Belichick. As long as they have Brady and Belichick, they're going to be a factor. Obviously, there are other teams in the AFC that could, the Bills are still going to be a team. The Chargers, you got to respect what the Colts are doing. Do I think they're a viable Super Bowl contender? I don't. But again, this goes back to the point, Joe. Two things. Number one, it goes back to the point that we just made where Drake May can overcome a lot of issues because of the quarterback play and the elite quarterback play. The other thing is, at what point do we end this honeymoon period and say, okay, Drake May is him. We know what we're kind of going to get from Drake May game in and game out. Now we got to start focusing on some of the other real issues that this team has because it's not a perfect football team. Drake May makes up for a lot of it, but if you're talking about true contention and a real run through the playoffs, you need to get better play from other spots, and you need to analyze different areas. And I'm just wondering when you start to really focus on that. I'm not saying get ahead of ourselves, but when do you start to focus on some of those other things?
Yeah, and just so people understand, when the Patriots were 8-0 years ago, Tom Brady knew the team still had flaws, right? He still knew that there were some holes there. The Patriots want to get better every week, and it's what Mike Vrabel talks about. So I do think today they had an emphasis on running the football, and they did so. But they can do that and get trail in a game and come back and show their resiliency. So they were able to do that against the Titans, right? They were able to get the running game going, which is they've been one-dimensional. But their defense had some hiccups in the game. But I thought there were some positives. Cleveon Chason, very good on the pass rush today. That guy's going to get paid in the offseason, by the way. And then, their line had some breakdowns. But once May started hitting the receivers, they found different guys. Pop Douglas over the middle, Mac Hollins, the Keyshawn Booty stuff, Stephon Diggs on the outside. It was just everybody was getting involved kind of thing where the defense started to ramp up because of the lead. You know what I mean? But Vrabel said something in the press conference about really happy with their second half effort. I got to admit, that double score turned into a triple score. Mm-hmm. And once they were down by 2 touchdowns, they started pressuring, using different blitz packages, and that's when Marcus Jones, of course, closed the game out with an interception.
I don't buy their defense. I think, again, because of Drake May, we don't need to get too worried about what they're doing defensively, but if we're being real, if we're going to talk like we used to, I don't buy their defense. And don't throw stats at me, don't throw numbers at me. I know they've been good, against other teams' rushing attacks. I think Milton Williams has been worth every penny. They're getting after the quarterback a little bit. The eye test, I don't buy it. I don't think they're good enough. I still think they give up too many chunk plays. I still think they're prone to have timely lapses in performance or whatever you want to call it. I don't buy their defense, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed in Mike Vrabel because I thought that they would come in and I would feel differently about this defense. Now, I think Vrabel's done a lot of good things, more positive than negative. But defensively, I'm disappointed in what I've seen. And I know some of the numbers are there, and that offers some hope. But I think they've, like I said, too many chunk plays, slow starts. I don't get the feeling that they're in control of the game when they're out there. And I think some bad quarterbacks have had some moments against them that I'm not interested in seeing. So I haven't been too overly high on the defense.
Yeah, I think one consistent thing after every game is, I think Vrabel's been harder on the offense than the defense, yet a lot of the defense are his guys, right? Where they got beat today, though, early on, Woodson got turned up. By the way, it was Marcus Jones who got beat, but
they both got beat pretty bad.
He thought that he was going to have the coverage behind him. But that's a bad play. Like, you go down in that game, that's something that if that's consistent in the game, that's going to be on now it's going to be on the tape for next week, and they're going to look for that. The teams are now going to attack that. You're right, though. Big plays on defense seems to be their biggest concern, but when they get pass rush, when Milton Williams is doing well and they get Landry off the outside, they really get at it. But today, I'll only say this. They went with 3 down defensive linemen today. They went with Tonga started. Mm-hmm. They went with Barmore. So they went a little more heavy today, and I think it cost them in the long run.
Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal will join us around 5:20 p.m. Jeff is in Worcester. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, how we doing? Beautiful game today. Loved everything out of Drake May. Loved everything out of the passing game. The only thing for me, honestly, was Ramadre. I even had him for an anytime touchdown. He got it for me, but it's still shaky, what I'm seeing out of Ramadre.
I don't know what was shaky about him today. I thought he was solid today. He sort of reminded me today of the back that I used to like watching. As long as he holds on to the football, honestly, Joe, I think it's fine if he holds on to the football.
I thought Ramondre was really good today. Averaged 4.9 yards a rush. Not bad, huh? They were like the worst rushing per yard team in the league coming into it.
He always, back when he was, at his peak or whatever you want to call it, he always reminded me of a little bit of Clinton Portis, the way he ran the ball. And I felt a little bit more of that today. Again, when you have Drake May, you just need to be competent. He's going to carry this team. He's proving it week in and week out with some of the throws that he's making. I mean, some of the things that he does, decisions, his ability to run the ball, he will carry you. You just can't screw him over by putting the ball on the ground. You can't put him, you have to just be competent and maybe allow for somebody else to be the best rusher on the team. That's all they need, and that's what they got today, and that's why it was a clean win. I understand that it's not the greatest opponent, but that's what they got today. 617-779-0985. More to come. Where are the Patriots in need of massive improvement? Is there any area of their operation right now that they really need to look at with a critical eye? We'll get to all of that. This is the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports of Patriots Radio Network.
Have you tried Good Stuff Smokehouse, New England's premier #1 barbecue destination? Why could
30-yard line of Tennessee. It's a 3rd down and 5. Stevenson right of Dobbs, who sends Douglas in motion to the right. He joins Booty there with Diggs split left. Josh Dobbs leans forward at the waist. Gathers in the snap. He drops back. He's pressured. He slips the initial rush. He slides right. He throws it right. The pass is caught inside the 20. Josh Dobbs kept the play alive and found Pop Douglas with a 1st down, New England.
All right, back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. The Patriots converted 22 first downs today, and with every first down, Credit Union's Kids at Heart funds promising studies into new treatments for pediatric brain diseases. Learn more at cukidsatheart.org. Patriots, once again, offensively dominant, and they found ways in this game, even after a slow start defensively, to really, Joe, gain control of the game quickly. And it just kind of sits on another thing that I thought of during this game that I'm not saying is a bad thing, but do you remember when Hunter Henry used to be the blanket, the security blanket for Drake May? I don't feel like that's the case anymore. And that's a good thing. Yeah, he's evolved. He hits other guys. He spreads it around. That's what the greats do. You don't need this one guy. With no disrespect to Hunter Henry, he's a good player. He's solid. But he's not he's not Gronk. He's not this dynamic number one receiver. There's no need to lean on him as heavily as May used to have to and other quarterbacks, Mac Jones used to have to. He can spread it around, make dynamic NFL plays, and get everybody involved. And that's great to see for them.
Should we mention Kayshon Boutte's rise?
Yeah.
And I think when Drake May wasn't the starter last year, he was developing with Kayshon Boutte. I think that, it's probably one of the most talented guys on that roster as far as receivers went. And the back shoulder throws there, as we saw them close out the game last week, that 39-yard throw, that was one of those, I'm going to throw it in a spot where only he can catch it, and I think he can get it, and he did. It was one of those kind of like a clap catch. Mm-hmm. I can't say enough about the accuracy for Drake May on deep balls. But Kayshon Boutte is their true X-receiver, plays on the outside. He's tough he's tough kid. I think he's slowly developing. I don't want to go there with, the Jamar Chases we went to college with or these, A.J. Brown types. But for the Patriots, is it okay if he's their number one option on the left side, on the outside, and on the boundary, and you kind of just find everybody else on, Steph Diggs at 7 catches every target today caught by Stephon Diggs. So I just kind of like the grouping they have. So I know we're all starting to think about they should add to the team.
Yeah.
That's the position I don't feel that they should.
Absolutely not. And that's the one we keep hearing on Twitter. We keep seeing all the looking
today.
Olave.
Bert Breer reported in our postgame show. Chris Olave is one of the names, and the kid from Minnesota there. But they have other wide receiver who just came back from suspension. But I'm just saying, that's what you keep hearing. And I just think that Boutte is now, I think, a guy they should extend because of the relationship with Drake May.
Those receivers, they're not game-changing necessarily number ones, all this type of hype that you get with some of the other top guys in the league. But they have performed more than well enough. More than well enough. And that is the type of production that all you're asking for if you have the quarterback playing at the level that Drake May is playing. And this is an exercise that nobody's going to like. It's going to piss people off. Where do you put I know it's early, but just think in your mind, 20-plus years of Patriots wide receivers. Where does Kayshon Boutte rank right now? It's early. I get it.
He reminds me of David Givens.
I was going to put him in that tier.
Yeah.
He's not Deion Branch.
Yes,
he's not Julian Edelman, but David Givens. He's in that tier. He might be even a little more dynamic than David Givens.
He's not Welker. He's not Edelman.
No.
But he's just below that.
I'm going to ask, you tell me if you think this is going to piss off Greg Bedard when I ask him if he thinks that Drake May throws a better deep ball than Tom Brady. So if you're listening, Greg, you're going to get that question.
I'm going to say yeah.
It's going to piss him off.
The only other quarterback who threw a great deep ball was, besides Bledsoe, was his backup at the time, Michael Bishop.
I thought you were going to say Zoe.
No, Zoe threw a great deep ball.
He did.
But no, Michael Bishop was the best.
But wait a minute.
Joe Milton also threw a pretty deep ball.
But hold on. They throw it far.
Yes.
Was it a good deep ball, though? Like, May's accurate.
Bledsoe is the guy.
Yeah. look, the way the numbers he's putting up, and I'm not a numbers guy, but the accuracy on these deep balls is insane. I mean, you just don't see that. And again, this isn't Moss out there. These aren't the best deep runners of all time. These aren't these take the top off the defense type of guys. Booty, though, they've got a bunch of B players at receiver, and it's working. Here's another thing, since we're talking about the receivers. Okay, I think this was a development today, even though he didn't have a huge game. Demario Douglas, okay? Today, 3 receptions, 17 yards. What I will say, though, and I think this is a big deal, I do think Pop Douglas has sort of finally carved out a little bit of a role this year. Because I didn't know early on if he was just going to be non-existent, if he was going to the bench in Siberia. It feels like in the last 2 weeks in New Orleans, and then that catch he made today on 4th down, even if he's not the go-to guy that I thought he might become, he's carved out a little bit of a role for himself where he has a place in this offense. Is he going to be Booty? Is he going to be Diggs? Maybe not. But I think they're going to need guys like that. They're going to need that for depth. They're going to need that for production. In a playoff game, they're going to need somebody that you're not banking on having a big moment coming through. And I think he's at least carved out a place on this team for this offense.
I think you could question if he didn't make that play on 4th down. Tennessee gets the ball back with another chance to make it a one-possession game. Instead, it put the game out of reach. Ramondre, he caught that ball. Ramondre, the next touchdown. Then they got the defensive touchdown. That was an important drive. Like, I don't know if we've talked about it enough, but they scored before the half. They come out. Drake May runs. Should have slid, didn't. Leaves the game, goes to the tent. Josh Dobbs comes in, but he avoided the sack, kept the play alive. Did he find Douglas? I think he found Douglas right on that
Douglas.
play. Yeah. And then May comes back in the game on a 4th down, a big play.
12 yards to Douglas.
And it was Douglas who made that one-handed catch. Yep. I don't know a lot of other guys on the team who make that, but to your point, he's finding a role in the offense.
Which is big for them. I mean, you can't have too many weapons. And if he can be, again, maybe you forget about him, and then all of a sudden in one big game late in the year with the playoffs on the line or something, he erupts for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm just saying they're going to need all the help they can get, especially if you're talking about the bigger games later in the year and all of those things. Did you like that call on 4th down, by the way, where Douglas made the one-handed catch? Did you want him to go for it there?
I like they were aggressive, and I think that's only because of where they were playing today in the situation.
I would have taken the points there. Tennessee had cooled off. I would have just taken the field goal, kept momentum. He made a great play, worked out. I didn't think they needed to go. They weren't at the goal line. I know it was 4th and 1, and I didn't like the play call. If you're 4th and 1, run the ball straight ahead, sneak it. That's what I would have done.
If it wasn't in Tennessee in a revenge game, yeah. I think they go for the points.
Okay.
I think they were like, let's put the hammer down on this team and end the game, and they did.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just, I wanted them to go for it in Buffalo because you're playing Josh Allen and points could be, hard to come by or whatever, but I just didn't think he needed to do it here, but it worked out. And I like the fact that guy made that play in that situation because they're going to need, again, everybody, especially if the passing game and the passing attack is their MO, which it is right now, and which, by the way, is fine. I'll take that as my MO. I'm happy to have that as my MO all day long. They're going to need the guys. And I think Douglas, after last week and then doing, just the timeliness of what he did today, really kind of cemented his place. It's not saying a lot, but cemented his place in the offense, and they're going to need him to have a role going forward. 617-779-0985. We're going to get a headlines from Joe Murray on the safety, and check that on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. But first, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
adjusts his pat leg on his right leg, and then steps back in his red shoes with the long white sleeves. A right hash mark attempt from 36 yards away. Ashby, the rookie long snapper, who played for Vanderbilt here in Nashville, with the snap, placement, and the kick is airborne to the uprights, and Borregales drills it. Eddie Borregales has tied this game at 3-0.
All right, back here on the back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. Once again, this season, as part of their Apex Cares program, Apex Entertainment will be donating $100 to support autism education and research at the New England Center for Children for every converted field goal. For more information, go to apexentertainment.com. 617-779-0985. Let's talk to Carl in Westfield. Hey, Carl.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How are you? Nice to have a team again, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, sir. I just have two quick points that I think are very important based upon the fact that we went from saying this team might win 4 games with this apparent offense, quarterback, and the defense, and now a running game. We may actually not lose more than 4. And the reality is staying healthy, what Joe said about Drake May not sliding, this is unbelievable that someone this talented at this point is starting to get protection coverage and able to play in a unit. He's risking, and look at poor Lamar. There's no future in that. And Mr. Stevenson, I want to thank him. He said the smartest thing I've ever heard a modern player say about, if I keep fumbling, I'm not of value here, to which it's a reality that's hard to admit, and now he's not. But this is the problem. When he's running in the field, they're coming at the ball from the side and behind, trying to knock it out. It's a new thing everyone does. He's got a 2-arm. The minute he feels someone near him, if he doesn't see him, someone should yell, because keeping the quarterback healthy, not fumbling, we'll go a lot further than we should. And we could go to the playoffs if we just get it together.
I wouldn't say the sky's the limit, Joe, but they're going to have a nice little stretch here where they're going to get tested. And they're going to come back home, which is good. 2 1:00 games at Gillette Stadium the next 2 weeks. Cleveland will be test-ish. They're going to have to find a way to deal with that defense, and that'll be a nice thing for Drake May to have to experience and for us to see. If Atlanta wins tonight in San Francisco on Sunday Night Football, they're going to be 5-2 when they come here because they got Miami at home next week. They're not going to lose that game. They're 3-2 right now. They get to 4-2. They'll be 5-2 when they come here on November 2nd. Okay, that would be a test if you get a 5-2 Falcons team, and then obviously the following week is at Tampa. So the next 3 weeks, we're going to see if the Patriots can take it to another level, keep it going.
Oh, yeah. Listen, the schedule favors the Patriots. There's no doubt, Al. I guess I'm not ready to take the L yet, but I had under 8.5 wins. They should break that the way that the schedule is lining up.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never know, injuries.
No, you're right. The Drake May thing happened today, and we all were on our toes about it. The schedule, I think, is very favorable. But this is why I think, Mark, they should be active in the trade deadline. A lot of wide receivers went last year, or should I say skill players. Like today, Matthew Judon was inactive. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I love Judon, but could they use another pass rusher? They could. Could they use another defensive end because Keon White is still not playing well? And I think although Travion Henderson didn't play, they might need one more running back. A guy I've identified as Samaje Perine. He played for the Chiefs. He's playing for the Bengals. But he's just a guy that's a solid veteran that can hang on to the football. So I don't know if they make big moves. I don't know. But if you can add to help your pass, you can add another pass rusher to help your secondary, or maybe another linebacker. They should be active because they have the cap space. They have a ton of late round draft picks. And I think there are a lot of teams that would probably sell this time of year.
Yes, they should be active. I would love a linebacker because here's the problem, Joe. Tell you what, the draft class, once again, not looking great.
Oh, it's not.
Now, that's not a problem for today, okay? And Drake May, again, will mask a lot of different things, but it's not looking great again. For the second straight year where you had the number, whatever, top 5 pick, Henderson is disappointed. Wilson got beat bad a couple times today. I'm not saying he sucks, but he is not impressed. He's not, taking over the league and doing all these things. Will Campbell is fine. Was he worth the number 4 overall pick? That's a debate we can have another time. He's okay, but Kyle Williams looks useless. Right now he looks useless. Obviously, it didn't work out with the guy last year that's gone, Polk. That whole class sucks. They sucked. The linemen, everybody was bad. So going forward, you're going to have a problem on your hands. Not an issue to deal with today because May and you've got guys under contract. But if you want to ever get to the level that you hope to get to with Drake May and keep it going, you have to be able to draft. And again, it looks like they're not in a good position via their draft class. Again, we'll see what Henderson can do. It's just not good enough, and they don't look good enough, those guys.
Yeah, I think the 2 guys on the line are starters. They're fine. Borregales is, he was, I guess, your kicker. You like that. But I expected more out of Henderson, and not to bring up Scatterboo, but, 4th-round pick.
He just scored a touchdown a minute ago.
Another touchdown.
Yep. I'm just saying you needed 2 guys at least. And I don't even really count. I mean, I'm not going to not count it. But when you draft 4 overall, that's an epic disaster if that guy can't contribute to the football team. Okay? You needed 2 guys at least, and right now they don't have 2 guys. Depending on your feeling on Will Campbell, you could say they have 1. I'm going to say Will Campbell has been a hit. He's 1. Who's the other guy? Travion Henderson has not been a hit yet. He's, you're not going to give up on him. I'm not saying he's terrible. He hasn't been a hit. Wilson, even though he's playing, not a hit. I'm not counting the kicker. The receiver isn't. And then if you want to talk about some other guy down the road, whatever. Once you get into the late rounds, I don't know. I just feel like they needed to reestablish themselves in the draft, and they haven't done that. Matt is in Kingston. Hey, Matt.
Hey, guys. What's up? I'm wondering about that hit that Drake May took. So what's the protocol with that? It looks like he whacked his head pretty good. And if you look at him, he was shaking out the stars. So they put him in the tent. And do the doctors just decide that he's okay and good to go? Because, it's pretty certain that he was concussed.
It looked like that. I mean, it goes to the independent neurologist, right? And the team has no say. The team doctors have no say. And he was cleared. So it's not a concern, right?
He whacked his head. The spotters came over. He ran to the tent. 3 people were in there. He came running out, went right back on the field. So he must have passed whatever protocols they gave him. And he wanted to be back out there. Right?
I'm convinced that unless he gets knocked out, this guy's not going to be like, if that's not a concussion. His head bounced off the turf and then hit it again. It was like a double bounce.
Let's ask this: do you think his game was affected after he came back up?
Not really.
No.
Not really.
No. And I get it. You could take some smelling salts and be ready to go. We'll find out if he's on the injury report this week, right?
Look, I wouldn't think he would be if he went back in the game, right? That would be a really bad look.
I'm glad we're talking about this because at the time I was nervous. But at the end of the game, throwing those passes and throwing direct on deep balls and how accurate he was, it's just hard for me to go back and say, this was an issue and that he shouldn't have been in the game. We're not saying that, right? We're not saying he shouldn't have come back out there.
No, because why would I say that if the independent neurologist?
Yeah. So all right, so we're on the same page then. I just think that there wasn't anything on the field that showed he was affected by it.
Another play I wanted to highlight it was a first down throw. I forget if it was I think it was a third down play. May, under pressure, this was in the second quarter, finds a way just through will and strength to get it all the way across to the sideline to Booty. Do you remember that play where they were bearing down on it? He was sort of falling. It almost looked like he was falling backwards.
Back foot.
Found a way to get it I thought it was going to be intercepted. Gets it all the way to Booty for a first down. Just doing it in every which way.
Yeah.
When he's got time, when he doesn't have time, when he's under duress, when he's got a clean pocket, a quick release, accurate, deep ball. As a matter of fact, I'd like for him to throw it a little shorter, a little more dink and dunk every now and then. I think that'd be healthy. But they don't need to. Joe, listen to this, okay? Do you understand? You read what he was today. What was he passing today? 21 of 23? That's 91% completion percentage. The highest completion percentage in a game in Patriots history with a minimum of 20 pass attempts. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. So again, the neurologists that are in our chat right now that are trying to tell us, yeah, he was concussed. I'm not a doctor, unfortunately. I don't know. But all I know is he came back out there and he had 2 incompletions the entire game and didn't look affected by it.
Sure.
So I'm not the neurologist. All I can tell you is he came back out and he did pretty well. And you know what? I don't know what to tell you. They took him out of the game, didn't they, late in the game?
I'm just saying if that from what when we watch a game, if that's not a concussion, I don't really know what is, because he slammed his head on the turf and then he got up and he was sort of seeing stars or whatever, but they cleared him and I was happy to see it. 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
In recent years, advances in the fight to cure pediatric brain disorders such as epilepsy, moyamoya disease, and brain cancer have been relentless. However, more work remains, and Credit Union's Kids at Heart is determined to move the ball forward again. This year, for each New England first down, Credit Union's Kids at Heart will make donations to its Boston area medical partners in order to fund research and clinical trials.
Postgame Show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray, and we're pleased to bring in now Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. Greg, good afternoon. How are you?
Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Peachy. It's good to be with you. And we're going to start with obviously another huge win for the Patriots. A lot of the similar storylines week after week here with the quarterback playing at the level he's playing at. But I'm just curious, Greg, what was your big picture takeaway, the theme of this game that really touched you?
That touched me?
Yes.
Well, I think you're leading the witness here, and I think you're expecting me to say the running game finally got going, the run blocking got going, because everybody knows how I love me some blocking, and I do think that is true. But I think the thing, if anything, moved me, it's freaking Drake May. I mean, it's just like, it's week after week. He's making it look easy. This week, he sets the franchise record for completion percentage. I looked this up. And this could change because of game charting or what have you. But his completion percentage over expected today, the last time I looked, was plus 24.4. That means that he was basically supposed to complete like about 70% of his passes. He ended up completing, 91% or what have you. That is, out of all the games so far this season, through the 1:00 games, that is the second best mark in the league to Sam Darnold in week 5. So, and he's taking care of the ball. Now, today he didn't really take care of himself all that well, which I wasn't crazy about, and probably the coaches won't be either. But the thing that moved me the most today was Drake May just continuing to go up another level, and I keep waiting for him to come back down to earth, but he's just not doing that.
Greg, seems like the emphasis on offense was to run the football. They had 175 yards on the day, but they got behind early on, and as you mentioned, Drake May took over the game. But was that the game plan, to go up against the worst rushing defense in football and try to get the run game going?
I think so. I think we had a little bit of shades of Steven Jackson down in Miami a little bit, where I think Vrabel, and it might have had to do with where they were playing and who they were playing, that Vrabel basically announced to Josh McDaniels and the coaching staff, we are running the ball. Sometimes I remember I've heard, since in the past that Steven Jackson game, I think Bill Belichick said something like, we're not throwing the ball until we run for a first down or something like that. Now, of course, they were clipping it off pretty well in the run game today. I don't know what Vrabel's maybe benchmark was for them to, start to really throw the ball. But yes, I think that Mike Vrabel dictated, we have to get this running game going. We can't just be a Drake May, make a play out of your rear end offense. We're not going anywhere unless we get more balanced. And at the end of the day, if my math is correct, and it's not a strong suit for me, 25 rushes for the running backs, 25 dropbacks for Drake May. So for 1 week against the Titans, mission accomplished.
Obviously, Drake May, Greg, is at the foundation of the Patriots' success. But what do you think is the second reason? What's their second greatest asset right now based on how they're playing?
Well, I mean, look, I think Josh McDaniels has a lot to do with it. I think that he is, I think his ability to change pitches as far as, mixing in the running game, different ways to give guys help, different plays, different blocking schemes that they're running has, I think, the offensive line, I think, has been good. I think that Josh McDaniels has made them look better with what he's done, and I've seen him do this in the past, and this is what I expected out of him in his return, because I think he is an expert in this, and he's up there. There's probably a handful of offensive coordinators in this league that can, including, like Cliff Kingsbury did this last year with the Commanders, where those play callers are able to make an offensive line look a lot better than it is. And I think he's done that. So I would probably say Josh McDaniels, but a close second would be, I would say, the development and the variety of targets that they have in this offense that can all do the job, that are coming up with plays that are not just being elevated by Drake May. Sometimes they're elevating Drake May, like I think we saw today with Austin Hooper's touchdown catch, Demario Douglas, the one-hander behind him, even though I'm guessing he probably should have sat a little bit more there and made it a little bit easier. But it ended up working out on a really big play when you go back and look at it, with the Patriots leading 17-13. So, I think, Josh McDaniels and also these guys, and credit to the coaches, because I think Todd Downing's doing a tremendous job with the wide receivers room. I think they're all viable targets. Sure, they need to get Kyle Williams going, and I'm sure that will be a project that they undergo. But I would say they have a bunch of guys that a defense can't key on, and so I think that gives a lot of freedom to Drake May, and I think it helps his offense ultimately.
Patriots got the double score today, but coming out of the half, Drake May had to leave the game, went to the tent. Josh Dobbs came in and got a really crucial first down there. May comes back into the game. They went for it on fourth down. Pop Douglas makes the great catch, and then they score the touchdown. But can you just go over what you saw on that regarding Drake May leaving the game, and I guess what protocols does he have to go through to re-enter the game?
Well, he definitely slammed his head on the turf. That's at least twice this year. And, for a guy who already has a concussion history, not good. It looked like he was sort of fighting for extra yards, which they do not need him to do. And I assume they're going to beat that into him this week, because when we look at the team, the way they're constituted, there's no path forward without Drake May. And, his ability to stay healthy for 17 games was one of the question marks going into the season, and had to factor in with some of the projections with the team. He's done a pretty good job up until this point, being very smart in that regard, but it needs to be better. And, as far as, they have a battery of tests that they run through. They get signaled that there could be an issue there. It doesn't mean that there is an issue. They take them in. They do an evaluation and by an independent neurologist, and then they are either cleared or not cleared. So obviously he cleared very quickly.
All right. Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal joining us here. When we get back, more from Greg. I want to ask him about Drake May specifically and the deep ball and some other things we're going to get to. Again, Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal will be with us for one more segment here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network. All right, back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray, still joined by Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. And Greg, how would you react if you were sitting with somebody and they were trying to argue that Drake May throws a better deep ball than Tom Brady ever did? How would you respond?
I mean, I think it would be pretty much factual. I mean, I could, dive into PFF and look at all the numbers, but, Brady certainly had it going, when Randy Moss was here. I think we all know that. But, Drake May to this point, I mean, this year, and I'm not sure if this includes today's games or not. I'm looking at PFF. He is on deep passes 20 plus or more, which is 9% of his attempts, 14 of 18, which is 78% for 414 yards and 5 touchdowns. He has 10 big-time throws on that. That's 41.7% of his passes. I don't know. I would just say it's factual. I mean, I would have to go back and look at Brady's stats. But, Brady, he could certainly do it, and he did it with Moss. But, more of his game was in the horizontal and sort of picking apart the defense and understanding what they're going to do. That's not Drake's game really yet. It's certainly getting there at a rapid pace. But I would just say it's pretty much a fact.
Greg, looking at the defense today, they went a little top-heavy early on. They had Tonga along with Williams and Barmore, and they got beat deep. Looks like the rookie Woodson might have wasn't there really for help, got turned on that Marcus Jones play. What was the reason today they went a little heavy up front? Did it affect them with their pass rush? And obviously on that deep play, just the rookie got beat.
I didn't really notice that, the heavy part of it. I mean, I'll take your word for it. They could have went with a little bit, of 3-4, because I was looking at, bear with me one second, but I'm pretty sure that the Patriots, by the end of the game, I'm looking for their defensive personnel. Their defensive personnel usage, they played 82% of the game in nickel. 3-4 was about 10%. 4-3 was about 7.8%. The opponent's yards per play, 5.6% against the 3-4, 5.0 against nickel. I think that they just wanted to make sure they loaded up against the run, and maybe they were worried about Cam Ward's legs a little bit and wanted to adjust to that. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say until I see the film, and you might be right, that the reason that they were not good on defense, especially with the pass defense in the first half, was because of the personnel they put on the field. I mean, the stuff that we saw today are things that have been an issue for this team all year. I mean, they basically stink in the middle of the field on the second level, and they really struggled to get quarterback pressure with only 4 guys. And I don't care, who's out there and who's not out there. That doesn't change the fact that the, safeties are not good. The linebackers are not great in the pass. And they're underwhelming with a 4-man front as far as pass rush. So to me, that's the problem. And also finding a way to, make it work with, I see a coaching staff, that used to be with the Titans with Vrabel, that never really had these sort of man cover corners that they have with Gonzalez and Davis and Marcus Jones. And they're having a tough time meshing it with what they want, what they normally do on defense. And until they get that figured out, they're going to continue to struggle and make guys like Spencer Rattler and Cam Ward, in the first half, look like Pro Bowlers. I mean, you combine what those guys did between the Rattler game and the first half of Ward today. They completed 31 of 42 for 375 yards. That's 9 yards an attempt. And these are not really that good of teams. So when they start facing some really good offenses, you worry about what's going to happen.
The other thing, Greg, if we're talking about wide receivers and combinations and different things that the Patriots have on their roster, I want to ask about both Douglas and Booty. Douglas obviously started slow, but has sort of come, I don't know, after last week in New Orleans, he sort of emerged a little bit. And Booty, I feel like, has been consistent when given the chance all year. I'm not going to ask you to rank the duo, but How important is this duo going to be, not just in the immediate future, but as you look towards maybe bigger things down the road, playoffs, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need, I mean, where they are in terms of their talent level in that group. And I think they have plenty to be, a good player and to win a lot of important games if they execute, if they get contributions from a running game like they did today. They're going to need all of those guys in some, fashion. And, I think that Booty's revealed himself to be a very good contested ball catcher, and I don't think that's, really going to change no matter, who they see. And, having Pop out there as sort of the third wide receiver, it'll be interesting to see sort of the play numbers, because I do know, they were in 11 personnel, which means 3 wide receivers. On 35 snaps. That's basically 72% of the snaps, which I think I'm going to have to go back and look. But I think that's a change. I think there mostly have been a 12 personnel, which is 1 back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. But even going into this game, 11 personnel has been their most effective pass grouping. And so, who are you going to put out there? I mean, basically it's Booty, and then you divide everything else between Diggs gets more of it, and then Mac Hollins and Demario Douglas. But, they're going to need – where they are, they're going to need everybody. So I'm not going to put too much importance on, 1 or 2 buys. But I would say Booty's the more valuable one because they don't really have anybody else on the outside. If he gets hurt or he goes down or he, for some reason he's not effective, now you're looking at – maybe either Kyle Williams or Mac Hollins out there, and that's no way. All of a sudden, it looks like the Bills with Keon Coleman out there.
Yeah, the Titans did not look good. Clearly, they're bad, and Cam Ward in the second half was disgraceful. You heard the Vrabel chants late in the game there. Must have been satisfying for him, but where do you think they go, the Titans? I mean, they've already brought in the young mind that was with, Joe Burrow with the Bengals. Where do they go next? Do they do a Mike McCarthy, who's a veteran? Where do you think they should do, and who knows what their ownership group does?
Yeah, so Joe, I think the essential point, and this is not a change from, and this is something that I've always believed in. They have to get alignment in their building. They have had no alignment between the head coach and the personnel executive since they fired John Robinson. I think there was some alignment, and why Amy Adams-Strunk fired him out of nowhere. I didn't think he deserved it. I think he deserved more time. But as we see, she's extremely reactionary for whatever reason. But then you could tell it was going to be a disaster. They bring in Rand Carthon, who comes from a completely different system from Mike Vrabel. You knew that was going to blow up. So, look, they hired Mike Borgonzi out of the Chiefs to be their personnel exec. The kid from Everett went to Brown, local guy. He's really good. I'm sure you probably mentioned him as a possibility of when they moved on from Bill Belichick. He'd be one of those guys that you talk about to bring in as sort of the GM. She has to let Mike Borgonzi hire the coach, somebody that he was comfortable with. So I would look at the Chiefs. I mean, is he going to give Matt Nagy another shot? I think there's some other guys who have been around, but that's what I would do. Let Borgonzi hire the head coach, because other than that, you're going to be looking at either firing the head coach or the GM within 2 or 3 years again.
All right, Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal joining us here on the Patriots Postgame Show. Greg, we'll look forward to your appearance on Tuesday on Felger and Maz, and I will see you there. So
what? No Muffin House? No cul-de-sac? You guys seem neutered today.
Wow.
What's going on?
No. We're just doing the job, baby. We'll get to the craziness another time.
Any thoughts on Cleveland next week?
No. Did they win? I saw some.
One big.
31-6.
Who'd they beat?
Miami.
Oh, the Dolphins. Good rushing game. You get to see Judkins versus Travion Henderson watching the game, which was puzzling to me. I thought we might have gotten the Travion Henderson breakout game today, but apparently in my judgment, when this happens, the coaches don't have confidence in him right now. And he was asked to pass block once. It was started off good initially, lost the block. May got pressured. It's not helping him get on the field. And so Judkins starring for the Browns, Trayvon Henderson watching from the sideline will be an interesting, I think, sidebar this week to this matchup. But that is for last I saw, that's a hell of a defense. Myles Garrett, you got Jim Schwartz coordinating it. I don't know what else they have at the moment, but I'm anticipating that being a really good test for this offense and Drake May.
We'll see what happens tonight with the Falcons, but the next 3 games should be good tests for the Patriots and May, the quarterback. All right, Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal joining us here. Thanks a lot, Greg. We'll talk to you Tuesday.
All right, see you guys.
We'll be back with more on the Shaz and Star Market Patriots postgame show on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports on Patriots Radio Network. I want to react, Joey, to the Greg Bedard interview real quick. What did you make of him giving more credit for the Patriots' success to this point in the season, more credit to Josh McDaniels than Mike Vrabel?
Well, I guess if Drake May is the difference maker, I think you have to give Josh McDaniels some credit. They tried to run his offense week 1. It wasn't great. They opened it up more, and since they've had passing over 8 yards a play and have gone for 20-yard plays, they've been a much better football team. So I can't speak for Greg, but I think Drake May is the reason, not Josh McDaniels.
I don't agree with Greg's assessment of that. I think you give more credit to the head coach. But with that being said, the Josh McDaniels haters, by and large, I'm not a big fan of anybody that's a straight hater on somebody because I feel like you can be blinded. And I think Josh McDaniels deserves credit. Does he deserve more credit than Mike Vrabel at this point? No. I don't think he deserves more credit than Mike Vrabel, but he deserves credit. Okay, I'm not going to be a hater unnecessarily. When Drake May played last year, he wasn't as good. Now, I understand he was a rookie. When Josh McDaniels was here in 2021, Mac Jones was okay. Then he left, and it all went down the crapper. Then he comes back, and Drake May is the best we've seen since Tom Brady. I'm going to give Josh McDaniels a little bit of credit. Not too much, but a little bit. I'm with you. I think it's more the quarterback. It's always more the quarterback. But I can't put Josh McDaniels over Mike Vrabel.
Well, this is why I think, there might have been a little bit of a challenge last week. I thought he wasn't giving Mike Vrabel the credit for that challenge. I thought whether it was the wording or whatnot, I just thought that play and having the challenge available there was a huge coaching moment. I'm talking like the reason why he's here. Why, like, to give you an example, last year against the Titans, Drake May threw a touchdown and they went for the extra point to go to overtime. They didn't go for 2 on the road. Generally in that spot, you always do. Gerard Mayo didn't. Well, they had a chance to win the game, and Drake May threw an interception, and they lost. Mm-hmm. So, this was a redemption game for May. I'm just saying that the coaching has been dramatically different, positively. So, you have to put Vrabel ahead. I think Drake May's ascended the team, but Mike Vrabel's turned the whole entire culture and program around.
Are there things that they started a little slower than I thought? But the one thing I will admit defeat on, and I'll say I was a little bit wrong. I can't say I was wrong. I think this approach of being patient is working. I thought they should have gotten rid of Ramondre Stevenson. But if you talk about a first-year head coach and the buy-in that he's getting from his guys, I think it's working. And I think that's a reason, not a big reason, but a reason that they are sort of thriving the way they are right now. I think they really believe in Mike Vrabel, and they're playing hard for Mike Vrabel, and I think they want to do well for Mike Vrabel. I can't give Josh McDaniels more credit than Mike Vrabel because Vrabel has his fingers in everything, and I just think Drake May is so explosively productive right now. That's the most important thing. I just think it's more than Josh McDaniels, even though I'm giving Josh McDaniels credit. This is not in spite of Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. But, this is how it works, Mark. When the quarterback's so good, you have to – doesn't this happen with all these – like Matt Nagy's probably going to get a head coaching interview because of what he's doing with Patrick Mahomes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hate that so much.
Yeah, and Shane Steichen. Look what's going on with him right now because of what he did with the Eagles. I'm just these – Mike Vrabel taking over is probably the biggest impact, but no doubt about it, Drake May has ascended the team in a different direction. But Josh McDaniels, I think if I want to give him credit, he came in with thinking about non-turnover worthy plays, and I think Drake May has thrown a lot of those.
I'm not going to say it's a bad take. I just don't agree. I think you give the head coach more credit, and I think there are things that, just your point last week, was it the ultimate game change? Is that something we're going to be talking about at the end of the year? Not necessarily, but it's just nice to see competency. And that's what that was at the end of the game.
He could have challenged the Chris Olave play earlier and didn't because he held on to the challenge for late in the game, I think Vrabel's been good, and you know what? They played for him today. Everybody was active for the most part. There was nobody out for the game. There was Vrabel chance at the end of the game. And he has more wins now at the Patriots 5 than the Titans had since they fired him. They have 4 wins since they fired him.
He looks more comfortable, too. He looks like he's found a rhythm. They didn't have the penalties today that they've had in other games, so that was good. I just think it's important that they continue, even if and I'm sure Mike Vrabel's fine, but Drake May is going to be the one that dictates the direction of this team. But Vrabel's going to, and I think the big thing that I need to see from Mike Vrabel, I need to see better defense game planning. Schematically, I think defense, I really, other than maybe a stretch in that Buffalo game where I thought they really kind of threw something at Josh Allen, I'm just not getting that look from the defense, and I think that's going to be a problem because we need to start thinking bigger picture, Joe, and if you're talking about going up against some of the teams that are going to be in the playoffs, you have to be a little bit more deliberate on the other side of the ball. It can't just be all Drake May. You have to help him running game, defense, and I just don't see enough from either right now to give that type of support. And they're going to need it. It's still that honeymoon period, so we don't need to freak out about it, but I don't see it from either side, defensively or the running game.
Okay, what are your 3 reasons why the Patriots are 5-2? I took under 8.5 wins. It's not looking good right now. Mm-hmm. They should blow through that, right? Look at the schedule. If Drake May's healthy, they should blow through 8.5. I just looked at DraftKings; it's 10.5. So they're on pace to win 11 games. So looking at it right now, like, what are the 3 reasons why? Clearly, it's Vrabel. Clearly, it's May. What's the 3rd reason?
What they did spending money in the offseason.
Probably.
Milton Williams.
People will throw McDaniels. I think
Landry.
McDaniels is worth the discussion, but I agree with you. Spending money and making the team better with veterans, that has helped the team.
I think the Milton Williams and Harold Landry's had some good plays on this team. Is he the difference maker? Probably not, but he's made some good plays for this team.
Can I give you one more real quick? This week on The Ringer, they posted winners and losers after week 6, and they put Josh McDaniels' name by proxy because he's here. Meaning, like, he fell into being in a situation with... So, nationally, this isn't just us.
Yeah.
Nationally, people think he's a winner by just being here.
Well, I'm not going to give him no credit. He gets some credit.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
Again, now, look, maybe this was destined to happen no matter who the offensive coordinator was going to be. And, I mean, the ascent of Drake May has been fast and furious. And, again, maybe it was going to happen regardless. I give him some credit because he just wasn't here, and now he is, and May's playing the way he's playing. But there's other aspects to this discussion and other things that we're going to get into that I want to mention, especially in regards to the wide receivers. So that's to come here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. But first, let's get a headlines with Joe Murray. But before we do that, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
turns, play fakes, rolls into pressure. Chason picks up the ball with a flag thrown on the play. Chason has it running into the end zone as Cam Ward off the play fake, rolling backward in big trouble immediately. The Patriots are celebrating in the end zone as Caleb Chason able to take the football in full score.
You talked about Cam Ward
with the 4 lost fumbles before today, a turnover in every game. And again, back in the pocket.
It's bad.
All right, back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. Cam Ward probably wanted to go home and hide under a blanket after that play. Nearly 30,000 people in Massachusetts don't have permanent housing. Heading Home is changing that. Get involved today at headinghomeinc.org. And I just want to bring up one more thing, Joe, while we're talking about the Patriots wide receivers and some of the things they did today, because this dispels one of the themes that we've discussed for years on this station and others and all over. I think what we're seeing right now from the Patriots receivers and Drake May and what he's doing, you could throw out the whole narrative that they don't have the weapons. They didn't have the weapons. Last year, they didn't have the weapons. What weapons do they have? Who do they have as well? It's about the quarterback. If you have the quarterback, these weapons are just fine. Douglas, Booty, Henry, Stevens, they're just fine, Joe. And I'm just saying, we looked at, and I kept saying last season and even going into this season, who did the Chiefs have last year? Who were their weapons? I would have taken the Patriots guys over the Chiefs guys last year. The problem was the structure, the offense, and most importantly, the quarterback. So could they use better weapons? Obviously, Diggs is in the mix this year. He's been good. You can always use better weapons. And maybe that's the difference between being good and great or winning the Super Bowl or coming up short. But don't tell me their weapons was the difference between 4 wins and now they're going to be a double-digit win team. There was really not that. Diggs didn't make that difference. One guy turned them from 4 wins to 10 wins. It's because you got the quarterback and you've got the offensive structure now. So the weapons were not the big story. They have weapons.
Yeah. I think Diggs has made an impact.
He has.
Leadership-wise more. And I know we can laugh at that, right? Stephon Diggs, a leader. Like, we can laugh at that. But they're winning, and he is. And that's the key. But no, you're right. The roster that they have right now, they haven't lost a game this year because of the talent on the team. Right? If they've lost a game, it's because they've beaten themselves.
Execution.
5 turnovers versus the Steelers. Like, come on, And against the Raiders, like, they had multiple chances before each half, and they blew it.
Yeah, it's just because the Raiders were so much more talented.
Yeah, they beat themselves. So I agree with you, man. It's not about that. Not about that at all.
So how do you look at this game coming up against the Cleveland Browns at home, by the way? We're reestablishing that home field advantage. Just because they beat the Panthers doesn't mean they're back. They still need to reestablish a presence at home, and it's not going to be easy against that defense Cleveland has.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tough game. Coming off like a 3-game road trip and returning home, you have to put that into consideration. Do I think the Patriots are better than the Browns? Yes. But when you look at the defense, as we said, Alex Wright up front, Mason Graham they drafted this year. Remember the Pats were in on him?
Yep.
They got but Myles Garrett's really, Devin Bush. I'm just giving you names. They have a great defensive front. So I think the offensive line's truly going to be tested this week. Are they going to be able to run on them? That's one thing. Because today they tried to run the ball. But I do think that they can attack their secondary. I don't think they're great. The Dolphins today were horrendous, and it sounds like they're going to fire Mike McDaniel. Maybe we can get in that in a bit. But overall, looking ahead here, I don't think that their line's great. They lose Jack Conklin. He's hurt. And Njoku, I think, might miss the next week's game. So Dylan Gabriel, though, he's been positive. Judkins, can they stop Judkins? They've been great against stopping the run this year. So if they can do that and kind of limit Dylan Gabriel, I think they roll.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a game they win. They should win this game. I mean, these are games they should win. And I like what you're saying about the defense and who they have to go up against in that front seven in Cleveland. But again, when you have May and you have McDaniels and they're operating at the level they're operating, you should be able to find ways around whatever pressure they're going to offer, especially a guy that can move like Drake and can get out of the pocket. And I think I mean, we talked on this show, whatever it was, after the Steelers game, what's their identity? They have an identity now.
Oh, yeah.
We know their identity, and if they lean on that identity, it's the best identity you could have.
Do you think their defense struggles early on? Because I'm just saying, I don't know how much of a game plan they do, right? I think they kind of go into a man coverage, and then as the game goes on, when they get a lead, then they start sending the house, right? Then they'll do the corner blitzes. So I almost feel like they're not so much scheme on defense. It's more about who's out there, situational, and then when they're up with a lead, that's when they actually start to bring up a scheme. I don't know if that's a great identity for their defense, but late in games when they have leads, they don't give them up.
I mean, the way I would go about this game, I think it actually sort of plays into your hands. Exactly what you want to do. I would try to make it an offensive affair. That's what I would try to do. I would come out throwing. I would let Drake May get on the move. I would have some confidence in their ability, the Patriots' ability to pass protect, and I would try to get it into a game where points need to be scored to win, and put pressure on Dylan Gabriel to score points with the Browns' offense and the Browns' weapons, and really show that you can overcome a good defense and a good defensive front. That's the type of game the Patriots, thank God, that's the type of game they're trying to play now. This is what we've wanted. That type of team. Again, to win it all, they're going to have to find a way to become more dynamic and to evolve defensively, get stops, timely stops, and force more punts. But for now, I would roll with what's working, and that's the best type of game I think you could have against this team.
How do you feel about game balls? How do you feel about all that?
I mean, whatever. If the guys get excited about it, I'm okay with game balls.
So Drake May got the team together after the game today and gave the game ball to Mike Vrabel, who beat his former team today.
That's a nice gesture.
There's been a lot of, hey, how come Drake May hasn't gotten a game ball from Mike Vrabel yet? So at least Drake May gave Mike Vrabel the game ball.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that Drake May cares about that. Now, I think his head is screwed on so correctly. I think that's helping this team leadership-wise, from a setting the example type of perspective. I think he's where he needs to be.
Do you want my line of the day from Drake May?
Yeah.
I'm not just trying to be a check down Charlie. I love that line.
That's a good line. Which is what they need to do. And I thought they'd be. I actually think they could benefit from a little bit more of that if they wanted to use that approach a little bit more. They don't. And when you're 21 of 23 or whatever he was for 91% completion percentage, when you're throwing the ball down the field that much, who am I to argue? And again, I think we need to give credit. Just the receivers, the weapons, these weapons that weren't here, they are getting it done. They had the weapons, Joe. This is not just because Stephon Diggs is out there.
The line is definitely better, though.
The line's better.
Way better.
Yeah.
That's an upgrade, though.
It is.
Maybe it really was the difference. They were bad.
The line?
Yeah.
The line was bad.
Line was bad.
But again, I think it's...
No, but you're right.
The
as far
accuracy,
as the actual weapons,
the throws, the plays, the belief that the plays are going to be made, I think all of that is on a different level than what we saw a year ago. So if you want to get a final call in, 617-779-0985. This is the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
Good news, homeowners. Over the last 5 years, home values have increased.
He's at the 35. He's at the 30. It's a foot race. 20, 15, far sideline. Touchdown! Quinshon Judkins, 46 yards to the house.
All right, back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. Just looking around the league, Joe, what were your big takeaways from this week league-wide?
I think number one is the question that was asked last week that we guess we could ask again. Who is the best team in the AFC? And I think after 7 weeks, I think we have to say record-wise, it is the Indianapolis Colts. Right now, the Colts have a big lead, 31-17. Let's see if the Chargers come back, but 31-17 in this one, and it really is Jonathan Taylor. 2 touchdowns. He's been the difference in this one. So that's one of my big takeaways. I guess the other one is I think the Dolphins are done. I think they're done, and I'm wondering if any of their players will be available. Mm-hmm. And if they are, would they trade them within the division?
Probably not. And that actually disappoints me. I would expect Kansas City to be in on trying to reunite with Tyreek Hill or something like that. Yeah. I think they could use a player like that. That would put them on a different level.
Jalen Phillips would be a difference maker if he's available. And
sure.
I think it would be something let's hypothetically say it was the Patriots. He's a long-term outside. He'd be him and Landry on the outside. You know what I'm saying? It'd be that kind of thing. That's a guy I would identify. The other guy would probably be Matthew Judon. I know he's a little washed, but for a late round picker. And you know who else was inactive today? The Raiders got shut out by the Chiefs. Jacoby Myers, inactive.
I was out on him before. I'm out on him. Just another couple thoughts on the league. It hit me today who Trevor Lawrence is. Trevor Lawrence is Mac Jones. He's God. Mac Jones. He has a better arm. Obviously, the physical traits are better, but by and large, that's what it is. He is a guy that if you can't surround him with talent and elite coaching, he's pedestrian, and he's not good. And that's the way it goes. And that's what an atrocious offensive performance by the Jaguars.
Matt Stafford, 5 touchdowns in that game. Hall of Fame, man. That guy's going.
He definitely is. Like I said earlier,
How about the Jets going down to the Panthers again? The Panthers are 4-2. The Jets are horrible.
The Jets are horrible. The division outside of Buffalo is and the Patriots, obviously, it's a 2-horse race there. When you look at the Patriots, I mean, L.A., the Chargers aren't as good as I thought. Some of these teams, the Broncos aren't as good as I thought. If you're the Broncos, not that they were a Super Bowl contender, but they're losing right now 19-0 at home. You don't lose like that to the Giants at home if you're a good team with a good quarterback.
They had the least amount of points given up going in. They gave up 95 points going into today. They're now down 19-0.
It's unacceptable.
How does that? How do they lose to the Saints but beat the Eagles and Broncos back-to-back weeks? How does that happen?
It's a signature win that game was in Philly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's going to be this next stretch of games for the Patriots is going to be very interesting, especially if they put up points against the Cleveland Browns defense. And then we'll see what Atlanta does tonight in San Francisco. If they come in here 5-2, you beat them, and then it's going to be the ultimate test. We'll see where Tampa is after a game Monday night in Detroit. But that's going to be – I don't care what Tampa does between now and November 9th. That's going to be a test for the Patriots.
Absolutely. Hey, man, the schedule is favorable. Again, I took under 8.5. It's not looking good. I think the Patriots right now, and maybe they even slipped up a little bit this week, but are they thinking playoffs? Like, are they starting to think like...
you have to.
Because Drake May mentioned it. Vrabel mentioned it.
I just, in that video of him, greeting the guys coming off the field, it looked different. It's like, this is what we expect, and they have to be thinking. That's why when they're talking about trade deadline, yes, be active. You have to be active. You're in contention. You need to find a way to do what you need to do to prepare for a playoff run. And that includes shoring up the defense, figuring out the running game. Those are the things that you're going to need to have if you're going to make a deep run. And they're poised to do that based on the play of the quarterback. We're poised to do great things just like the Patriots because of our crew in Tennessee, producer Mark Capello, engineer Dennis Knutson, sideline techs Tyler Knutson and Mike Perry, and our team here in Waltham, including intern Luke Arnpriester, studio technician James Scaramazino. How did I say that? Is that okay? Skaz. We call him Skaz. And executive producer Jeremy Connolly. We want to remind you, Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Patriots, has teamed with Shaw's and Star Market for sacking hunger. Today, the Patriots recorded 4 sacks And that's another $4,000 donated by the Shaw's and Star Market Nourishing Neighbors Foundation to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Boston to help end hunger. Patriots get it done again. Their third straight win on the road. They beat the Tennessee Titans today by the final of 31-13. Drake May, another signature effort. 2 touchdowns, 222 as the Patriots roll. It'll be 1 o'clock at Gillette Stadium next week when they host the Cleveland Browns. For Joe Murray, I'm Mark Dondero. This has been the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots post-game show on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports Hub, Patriots Radio Network.